I don't think I know everybody in this audience. But I do think there are some mini Maker Faire producers in the audience. Westport is here. San Diego is here. Who else? Other cities? Ottawa. Hi, haven't seen you yet. Anyone else? Madison. Hey there, Madison. Well, so I could talk about Maker Faire, but given the context, I've been doing this talk in a few different places in variations, and really, to me, I'm completely down with this angle around leveraging platforms for helping to cultivate and nurture maker community and the maker movement in where you live. You know about Maker Faire. We started in 2006 in the Bay Area as a result of an interest from Dale and the editors of Make magazine to create a place for makers to come to meet each other, to show what they've been making, and to share what they've learned. I think you all know that it's grown into quite a phenomenon. It was an early Make when Bree used to work for Make, actually, or before that, based on the fundamental values around open source hardware, really. This year, so 2006, Maker Faire Bay Area. The first mini Maker Faire started, I think, in '09. The licensing program didn't really start till 2011 or 2010. And this past year in 2013, we reached 100 fairs around the world. That's really amazing to see what's happening internationally, not just in the US. Last year, Europe had grown from 5 fairs to 20 in just 1 year. And then, of course, we had this happen, which is a great validation for what all of you are doing everywhere, right? It's a wonderful, talking about leverage, like this was tremendous when you go to speak to the people in your community about making a Maker Faire. And this is a depiction of the growth. And what's important about this is that while we have these monster events in the Bay Area and New York, our flagship events, what is really important is what's happening outside of Bay Area and New York. So the blue is our flagship fairs, Bay Area and New York. Green is our featured fairs, which are larger scale, 10,000 and above fairs like Detroit, Kansas City, this year Shenzhen, Rome is one. They're also licensed. This year we actually, 2014, will have had 12 of those, going from 5 to 12. But you'll see also the red, and that's where we're seeing this exponential growth is in this, the local applications of the brand and what the brand means. This is a great quote from our friends at the Bilbao Mini Maker Faire, who really do have a Maker City vision and agenda. And this is a direct quote. Because of you guys in the Maker Faire brand, we were able to get a grant from the government. If it hadn't been the Maker Faire brand and what's associated with it, they would have thought they would have had to fought more for legitimacy. The mission of Maker Faire is to actually deliver attention in some way and to create awareness around people that were previously sort of had no show. People doing things in their garage or in their basement or in their kitchen for their own reasons, for their own passions, but perhaps never thought before there was an audience for what they made. And this is an example of one from Calgary who literally was making these sculptures in a basement, and the Calgary Mini Maker Faire producer got wind of it, showed it. He's now been in all over the place. Popular Science, we had him at Maker Faire Bay Area this year, and a world of opportunity has opened up from this basic premise of providing an opportunity for these folks to get a little bit of attention and recognition and accolade for their work. Other outcomes besides just kind of the makers taking the fair as sort of an opportunity to show off and to get some applause, and I'm not sure why it's formatted so oddly, but what you're not seeing there is just in our attendee survey results, our combined survey results, after we look at all of the results from all of the mini maker fairs, we're definitely seeing that the attendees are taking note of the makers, going home, looking at their websites, telling of their friends. So that goal around Maker Faire, giving makers more audience, more opportunities is happening. And then in terms of growth, we're seeing about a 20% growth from year to year across the fair. So that's an average. Some might stop. Some are going at 100% or more in terms of growth, but this is the base average from 2012 to 2013. We'll have new numbers in a few months. The other thing that happens as a result of maker fairs in your community is that makers become more productive. We all respond to deadlines. So the makers, when they have a deadline, it's showtime, you push, you work together, the productivity goes up. And so we're actually seeing certain regions where there are multiple fairs, and it's growing exponentially in the sense that people have 3 deadlines a year where they had none before. Interdisciplinary collaboration. So this was a project in Portland between a beekeeper and a coder. They met through like a meetup that was sort of associated with the Maker Faire and did a really cool project around bee habits and sensors. And that kind of interdisciplinary conversation and potential collaborations is one of the outcomes of bringing all of these traditionally siloed disciplines into one place that is a Maker Faire. Maker spaces. So we're seeing, if there wasn't a maker space before the fair, there's a maker space shortly after the fair. It's the snowball effect. Maker spaces and making an education. It's additionally like it's fuel for what is going on, and it just somehow it's sort of like dumping an extra couple gallons of gasoline on a simmering fire. And what happens after a fair? And then the implications are now, we're seeing with things like the White House and with the Mayor's Challenge. It's also institutional. It's becoming, we're seeing things on a policy level. You guys have heard a lot of these stories over the weekend here. MIT is coming back on Sunday to speak on the main stage at NYSCI to share the results of their first year of allowing applicants to submit a maker portfolio as part of the application process, so that people who make things can actually show them off to admissions officers at MIT instead of just being evaluated by testing and grades. That's pretty phenomenal, so I'm very excited to hear what they have to say, what their findings were. But that kind of change is part of this trajectory, and they have been part of our community, and I think some of the influence of this community was a part of that. And then finally, we're having a Maker Faire producers meeting tomorrow that Dale talked about earlier this morning. We gather as producers on the Friday before Maker Faire Bay Area and Maker Faire New York every year. And at the Bay Area, we did have Peter come and do his Maker City talk, or an earlier version of it, to the producers. We're trying to help folks think both tactically about how to nurture a healthy event for their city, make it financially feasible, make it a fantastic experience for attendees. But at the same time you're doing that, you can lay the groundwork for a more strategic play around the Maker City where you live. Those same folks that might be able to fund an incubator might also be able to provide some funds potentially to get your fair going. And these ideas are happening around the world. So I just want to finish with just a notion that this community is about doing it together. Maker Faire, it's the Trojan horse. To me, it brings together people for the party, and that horse gets through the gates, and then other things happen.